First of all, I'd like to thank you all for your willingness to be here tonight to provide Vallejo voters with the opportunity to be informed and to learn about you, the candidates, and your interest in serving as their school board trustee. And each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement, 1 minute for a closing statement. Each candidate will also have the opportunity to answer all the questions that we're able to pose to them, and they will have 1 minute to respond. We do have a timekeeper that is providing them with countdowns and to announce when their time is up. There will be no rebuttals to any of the remarks from the candidates, and no questions will be taken from the audience. We are going to ask you in the audience that you please use proper decorum, and also to both the audience and the candidates, we firmly ask that you be respectful and refrain from outbursts or heckling toward any candidate. To that end, we expect all candidates to keep remarks on point with the main topic of the questions. And in order that every candidate may have a chance to respond in the time allowed, we would ask that you please hold your applause for all of the candidates until we conclude the forum. And finally, I would ask that you would please silence your cell phones with the exception of the timekeeper who's using the alarm on his phone for the timing.
Thank you. I'd like to first thank the organizers of tonight's forum, as well as thank you to the citizens for being here this evening. I'm running to seek another term on the school board, the final 2 years, because the 3 serious challenges motivated me to continue. We have students and teachers being assaulted and bullied, as documented by 3 Solano County grand jury reports. We have teachers and staff resigning at an alarming rate in our district. We have the 4th lowest high school graduation rate in the entire state. I have visited school sites and held office hours to listen to students, parents, teachers, and community members. And I have presented their concerns and solutions at many school board meetings. That is what a school board trustee is supposed to do, advocate for the people. We must elect board members who will work for you and listen to you. My name is Russ Gohyangyang. I'll be honored to earn your support. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Bandong Bowman. Thank you to the CDC for hosting tonight's forum. I'm running for Vallejo USD School Board because I've always served the community I live in as an educator. I have a passion for education, and I am a 3rd-generation teacher from both sides of my family. I feel that the best way I can serve Vallejo is to be on the school board where I'm in a position to set policy and procedures. I'm starting my 29th year as a public school educator. I've taught kindergarten through 12th grade. I've worked at a variety of schools, including those where a significant portion of the students are in need of economic support. Parents, you're the stakeholders. I know you're bringing us our most precious assets, and I promise you as a board member, I will take care of your kids. Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to thank the Community Democratic Club for hosting this forum. My name is Hazel Wilson. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration with an emphasis on accounting. I retired as a large corporate audit manager from the United States Treasury Department Internal Revenue Service after 38 years of service. My managerial experience, 30-plus years in goal setting, providing direction, writing performance reviews, and I've served on the Vallejo City Unified School District Board for 13 and a half years. My focus and the reason I'm running, I have the vested interest. I have 5 grandchildren in this district. My 2 children are graduates of Vallejo High School, and I have had many other students, my foster children. I've had students in the district for 25 years because I have been a foster mom, serving all children.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity to introduce myself to the community, and thank you, community, for coming out and hearing me. My name is Shidell O'Hara, and I am a 17-year Vallejo resident. I have a daughter who is a sophomore at Vallejo High School. I am interested in seeking this seat because I have been to some of the board meetings, and the way that they are currently functioning is completely dysfunctional. I think that that does a disservice to the community. As a parent, it was extremely concerning. And I think that there needs to be better parent representation. There needs to be better community representation with regard to the way our district is educating our children and with regard to the interests that are actually being represented at each of these board meetings. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Thank you for having us here. My name is Bob Lawson. I'm running for school board. I was born in Vallejo. I've lived here, therefore, 10 years for you to do the biblical count. Okay. I've worked for the school district for more than 30 years, 25 as a regular teacher, additional years as a substitute, including tomorrow morning when I will be going to Bethel High School at 7:50 to sub. My thing with the board is I believe the public is losing some confidence in the school district. I'm concerned about that. I'm hopeful with the new board that the superintendent will be responsive to board members. That's really what I want to see. I've had quite a bit of experience with being treasurer of my church, treasurer of groups I belong to, and also one thing that's a big issue in Vallejo schools, I've got a lot of experience with WASC. I've run successful WASC programs. I've also been on WASC inspection teams, and that's one of the big issues in the school district. I know how it's done, and I've had it work. Thank you.
Thank you to the CDC for having this forum. My name is Mary Ann Kearney Brown. I was a teacher in Vallejo schools for 10 years. I taught for 2 years at Cal State University System, and currently I have a math support center in downtown Vallejo called Whatever It Takes. I'm running for school board because I see a real disconnect between the concerns of the parents and the students that I deal with every day and what I see at board meetings. The parents are concerned about safety, they're concerned about lack of quality teachers, academic achievement, and when I go to board meetings, all I hear is everything's fine. And I really want to be part of the solution and bring the concerns of the parents and students I work with to the board so that we can make, bring it together and come to solutions.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette McCree-Godot. I'm running for school board because I've been to several of the board meetings and I find it dysfunctional, and I think that I have what it takes with my background of education, owning business, and an accountant to bring some honesty, accountability, and to be able to implement some of the ideas that will move us forward. My school concerns are safety, teacher retention, and raising the quality of our education. And I would like to talk with each and every one of you about how I plan to do this when I'm on the school board.
Good evening. My name is John Fox, and I'm in my 19th year of being a teacher. I work over in Pittsburgh and Mount Diablo Unified, and currently I teach 3rd grade. I've taught 2nd grade through 6th grade. I've been a reading intervention teacher, and I also have my administrative credential. I've been summer school principal, and so I have vast educational experience. I'm also on 3 boards here in Vallejo. The Glen Cove Association Board, my Homeowners Association Board, so I know how to work on a board. I'm running for many reasons, especially because I'm an educator and I care and love Vallejo. And I love the diversity we have here, and that's why I've been here 16 years and I'm going to retire here. The reason I'm running is I want to work on safety. I want to be an advocate for our students. I'm tired of hearing lots of people blame different things against our students and against the population. I want us to be positive and find solutions together, how we can come together as a community, and how we can incorporate that with businesses and find money to help support our schools. Thank you.
As a former student of Vallejo High School and someone who's attended Vallejo schools, many of the challenges our students face to this day, bullying, violence, that's the same issues I faced when I was in school here, and that needs to stop. This is all documented in the 3 Solano County Grand Jury reports. As your board member, I would advocate the implementation of those recommendations, from better use of the school resource officers to interact more with the students in the college and career academies, especially at Vallejo High School, upgrade our site safety, and most importantly, create policies and programs that would ensure that it feels a sense of community on our campus.
I live in Washington Park, and I've helped organize the National Night Out. That neighborhood is rebuilding. We have lots of young families moving in, and I think of those children as my children. They're cute now, they're adorable, and in 10 years, I want them to be good citizens. And so my investment in Vallejo is an investment towards those children, in ensuring that they have a strong education, that when it's time for the decision to go into either the world of work or the world of secondary, academia, that they're prepared and they're ready.
I'm invested in the Vallejo School District and serving on the school board because it's about the children. My children are graduates of the Vallejo schools, and I have 5 grandchildren currently attending the Vallejo schools. And I work with so many children. Yesterday, I was tutoring 80 students at Vallejo High School. I don't just talk about the problems, I get involved. I also coordinated the effort to provide backpacks for every first and second grader in the Vallejo City Unified School District, plus every student at Loma Vista Elementary School. My work is about the children. I've been in this community for 42 plus years, and I work tirelessly. All my volunteer work concerns children.
I'm invested in the district because I have a child in the district, and I'm looking at running for the school board because every policy that goes forward and is set through the district affects my home personally. In addition to having a child who's a student in the district, I have 2 businesses here, and I know that business is directly affected by the quality of the education that we provide. I'm interested in the success of my businesses and the success of my daughter's education. So that makes me extremely invested in not only making sure that my daughter is able to succeed after she leaves out of the district, but every other child that's in the district, so that they can go forth and be community leaders, world leaders, and have the academic support that they need in order to be competitive.
Well, I'm definitely invested in the Vallejo school system. I've worked in it for more than 30 years. If you count my substitute years, my wife Dawn out there worked 35 years, has worked in the adult school. My son David has taught 20 years, including now at Vallejo High School. I came out to 85 years. My daughter-in-law is the attendance secretary at Hogan Middle School. So we have a lot going there. My grandson attends the Vallejo Charter School, which is a new thing this year, and he's gone through the public school since he began. I've had a lot of experience in teaching and coaching. Kids know me. I've coached many years. I was the worst girls basketball coach probably in Vallejo's history, but I produced 3 girls who came through my program who became attorneys, including one who became the first African-American attorney judge in Napa County. I'm real proud of that. I'm real proud of the way my students from the past have gone on and done in whatever they've done. Thanks.
I'm vested in education in Vallejo because I went to public school in Boston and I got a really good education, even though I was lazy, unmotivated, and kind of a pain in the butt for teachers. But the school I went to, if you were there, you did what you were supposed to do. And when I came to Hogan, that 1994, that's not what I was seeing. And I felt like there were kids who were way smarter than I was, with way more potential, and they weren't even getting to the level that I was able to get to. When I was 23, I got tired of waiting tables, and I went back to community college, and I went right into calculus. So that was my experience. Now, former students every year call me because they're going back to the community college for similar reasons, and they test into 6th grade math, 8th grade math, and it's not right. And that's why I have my Whatever It Takes downtown. And what I want is our kids going right into college from high school.
I'm vested in children, Vallejo, and a betterment of life for all of us. I have started after-school programs with Lincoln Elementary School, teaching children how to be entrepreneurs through the arts, and have helped to improve their grades because of the experience. I feel that I can help each and every child in the Vallejo school system by bringing new programs and helping them with their self-esteem. And I feel that everyone in Vallejo is responsible for our schools, for our children, and should advocate for better education for them. I want to be a part of what helps our children to be proud of themselves and to move on in the educational system and know that they have support from us in every way that we possibly can, and to bring the humanities and the arts back to the school system. Because everyone isn't going to college, and we need to have classes and shop and various programs to help them learn a trade.
Thank you for your response. Thank you.
I'm invested in our schools and education because I've devoted almost 20 years of my life being a teacher in Title I schools, and that's been my goal, to help the community and be a public servant. Over the years, I've also been, as I told you, a board member. And as a board member, I understand how home values correlates to our school performances. And I think the potential of our children, the potential of Vallejo, we have such greatness here. We need to tap into that and all come together through our community to make our schools the best they can be. I've also been endorsed by many communities because I'm part of many clubs throughout Vallejo. And with their backing and reaching out to other businesses, I feel that we can continue to work on bettering our schools and our children. Also, we need to work on 21st century skills for, does it stop? Oh, for our children, and help them be ready for the future. Thank you.
My top 3 goals would be to build trust between the board members and to build our team, to build trust between the community and the school district, and to build trust between the administration and the teachers. 30 seconds. Okay, so as far as safety goes, there were some recommendations in the grand jury report, one of them being the hiring of an additional SRO, and I would support that. Regarding growth, we actually are, surprisingly enough, we are seeing some growth in our schools. Our ADA was based on a 12,400 estimate. We're at 13,378.
My 3 priorities would be school safety, parental involvement, hiring and retaining qualified employees. Safety, curriculum, and potential parental involvement. Those are very important to any school district, and how we are you do see some growth, and we are growing, and that's our new innovative independent study program, where there's independent study and innovations independent study program, which offers alternatives. So a student can be in a straight independent study, or they can come 2 days per week and have classroom experiences also, plus co-curricular activities. This is a very new program. We have kinks to work out. It is not totally implemented, and it's stopped.
If elected, my primary focus would be to work with redeveloping the relationship of the school board. With regard to safety issues, I think that the restorative justice's practices is on the right path. I think that it creates a better sense of responsibility and accountability around the children, and it causes them to be accountable to and for one another. With regard to growth, growth is a living process. So that's going to always require us to look at more ways to become innovative, to become better accountable, to become more engaging. With regard to parent involvement, I think that we have to find ways to continue to lower the barriers for parents to be involved. And I think that one of the good ways that happened was today the parents received an email for electronic flyers. Once we can find out more about what's going on in our schools, we can get better involved, but oftentimes we don't find out things until it's the day of or the day before. So if we can fix that, we would have better parent involvement.
The confidence in the schools and the disciplinary system, of course, very important. As far as school safety, I'd encourage us to be able to increase the presence of police officers, one at each of the high schools, perhaps one to be shared among the middle schools as part of that effort to improve school safety, along with better indoctrination of new teachers coming in, as getting them plugged into the system and being a better part of that. Staffing, which nothing would build confidence. The public would have more confidence if we had teachers at the beginning of the school year. We need to be more aggressive getting out there, recruiting teachers in May, not waiting until August, till the last minute, and then not being able to get anybody. Parental involvement, efforts at community liaison with key figures, let's say with the Hispanic community, for instance, the non-English speaking parents and stuff, having staff personal contact rather than just something being sent in the mail. And those are three things I could think of.
My three top priorities: safety, teacher retention, and academic achievement, and those things are all connected. Right now, we're losing a lot of experienced teachers to retirement and other reasons. We're getting a lot of teachers in with little to no experience and often with no credentials. What we need to do is recognize that we're going to be staffing classrooms with people with no experience. So instead of waiting till August to bring them in, start looking for people who want to work in Vallejo in May and train them during the summer. Have a summer school class with an experienced teacher and 6 to 8 new people who watch her set up a classroom, watch her help her lesson plan, practice teach in that program so that they have their sea legs by the time they start a class in September. Because people are not good because they're afraid of the police. People aren't good because they're afraid they'll get in trouble. People are good because they're part of a community. And experienced teachers and teachers with support create that community in their classrooms.
My three top priorities are also safety, teacher and recruitment and retention, and having a better academic program. I see my working with the board to examine the budget, reallocate money for those issues, and to review all of the items that we need to take care of and bring in the community to help us do that. So it's a job that I would love to tackle, and I look forward to being on the board in the fall.
For my top 3 goals, of course, safety, building relationships, and parent involvement. But I want to first start with building relationships and trust. As an educator, if you do not build that relationship and trust with the children and the parents and the community, you're not going to be successful. So it's the first thing that you need to do and first thing you need to work on. I feel that our teachers, all of our staff right now do not have a contract. We need to negotiate their contract I have experience with my own union in Mount Diablo. So once we get our teachers and all staff to have contracts, then I feel that they will feel more motivated, that they are being respected and have somewhat comparable benefits and pay, so they want to stay here in Vallejo. As far as safety goes, in my district we had PBIS, we have it here. I feel it needs to be implemented more here in Vallejo with more professional development. And we actually go to schools and rate the schools on what percent that the children and community know what are our 3 rules: be safe, be responsible, be respectful. So we go around and check on that. Also, I think that restorative justice is one component, but I think it
Thank
needs
you
work
very much.
on.
To improve school safety, we must implement the recommendations as outlined in the grand jury report. Work with the city to enhance our school resource officer program, upgrade site safety, to improve staffing and retaining teachers. We have to provide better incentives, better support for them, and more autonomy in the classroom. To tackle the achievement gap issue, we have to implement research-based practices that worked in other school districts and bring back the Trades Academy. I appreciate the community member in the audience that gave me this article where there is a shortage of painters, drywallers, and other positions that require the use of the trades. So we need to bring the trades back into schools. And I remember when I was a student, we had trades.
The superintendent is the only employee of the board. It is the board's responsibility to set goals, provide direction, write performance reviews, evaluations, and to provide and the board must also set policies for the entire district. It is important that the board is willing to look at all aspects. It is also important that the board has experience in managerial experience, and that is goal setting, providing a direction, and hiring and termination when it is appropriate. I have sat on this board for 13 years, and we have had about 5 superintendents, 2 were terminated, and I have no problem doing good evaluations and following the...
The function of the board is to create a vision, to set goals, and a direction that the district needs to go in. The function of the superintendent is to be the CEO over the district and to work with the board in making sure that those things which the board has come up with, the superintendent is able to do those effectively. The board is the superintendent's boss, if you will, but they need to work together in a way that is not micromanaging, allowing the superintendent to work with the staff that she hires to create a functional system that allows our children to thrive. And if that isn't happening, then the board is supposed to set forth some decisions that whether we need to keep current superintendents or not. However, we need to first work together to make sure that we're going in the right direction before we just abandon the direction.
I think actually it's the school superintendent is the one that has to come in with a vision. When I've been involved in things with a manager and stuff, I've told managers in the past, don't ask the board to come up and tell you how things are going to be. Give us a vision, and let's see if we can help you reach that, the goals and everything with that vision. And so, in that sense, I think that the superintendent gets a vision. Then it's up to the board to determine: do we accept this, and what can we do? How can we collaborate to make this thing work? And I think that's my viewpoint for this, and I guess that says it in a nutshell.
So the role of the board is to set policy for the district, and the role of the superintendent is to carry it out. Now, in order to do that, the board has to set clear, concise, explicit policy goals with verifiable outcomes. And they have to evaluate on a periodic basis whether or not those outcomes are happening. If they're not, they rejigger the goals and look at what they can do to improve that. I don't see that happening with this current board. In order to make good, informed decisions, you need reliable information. And when I go to these board meetings, a lot of times it doesn't seem like the board members have even read the packet. And they will ask questions that I know the answer to, and I'm just a community member, and they'll ask questions and staff will say, well, I don't have that at this time. And I can understand staff saying that because they have a lot going on, but if I can read a board packet as a community member and know the answer, I think the board should be able to do that.
The superintendent is the employee of the board. The superintendent, as everyone has said, should set policy and show a vision. The board and the superintendent should be able to collaborate and move forward and implement this vision. I see this board, the current board, as not following through. I see a lot of conflict, I see a lot of arguments, and I feel that we can, as a new board, set policy, set procedures, and do a better job. Be more accountable, be more honest, and implement the things that will help our district grow.
Okay, I agree with a lot of what's already been said, but to set for a superintendent, I first want to talk about every district. We have our mission, our vision, and our goals. Those words mean nothing unless you bring those words to life and you model them through role modeling, and that everyone understands what those are. All stakeholders know what those are and what they mean. So it's good to have all those, but you have to enforce and really work towards those as goals and how to bring those to life. As a board, I've been going to the meetings since January, and I see a lot of the board members do not know a lot of the questions, like Marianne said, that as an educator, I do understand a lot of the things they're talking about. I feel they need to work together, and especially both parties need to know ed code and what's best, what's student-centered. The whole district needs to be student-centered, everything you talk about. If that involves safety, if that involves professional development for our staff, if that involves welcoming new people to Vallejo, which we need.
Thank you very much.
The governing board oversees one and only one employee, which is the superintendent. The school board sets policy and direction for the district, and the superintendent carries out the direction of the board by implementing the board's direction. As the grand jury report states, the board fails to communicate clear policy and direction to the superintendent, and they must resolve internal conflict. And to fix that issue, I'm on the governance committee with another board member to develop board protocols, badly needed board protocols that will hopefully help address the internal conflict and set up stronger structures and protocols that all board members will have to follow to ensure that our meetings, board meetings, are not dysfunctional. Rather, it's inclusive and welcoming to the community.
Regarding the roles of the role of the Board of Trustees, the role of the Board of Trustees is to collaborate, to evaluate, to set goals, to provide direction, and evaluate not only the school superintendent, but to evaluate its own effectiveness and to understand and implement best practices. The superintendent is an extension of the board and its representative, and the superintendent needs to communicate the vision and the goals to the staff and the students and the faculty.
My understanding, there is a newly designed or a task force that is under design, which is the City Schools Task Force. And I believe that there has to be greater collaboration between the city, the school, and GVRD to make sure that the children have opportunities that they may not be getting at this time. Those opportunities will look like, after-school programs, some job readiness programs, some programs during the summertime, something that can help them do something with the free time that they have in a more constructive way to get them off of the streets when they're out of school, and something that can help them develop their life skills. I think that if we're able to work with the city as well as GVRD, that will bring in greater resources into the district. That will bring in greater ideals into the district. That will bring in greater community support for the district, that we will be able to service our children better.
Well, obviously, we want a good relationship between the school board and the city and GVRD. Difficult thing with the city, of course, they deal with so many other issues. They don't always understand what we're dealing with in the schools, as you well know. And so we just have to continue to educate, to get our chance to go and talk to the city, which has taken some time. The GVRD, which is sort of it's been sort of nebulous since 1978, to be perfectly honest. When Prop 13 passed, all of a sudden, all the traditional services of the GVRD, youth sports and stuff like that on the weekends and stuff like that, the basketball at night and stuff, has kind of gone by the wayside. We just have to continue our efforts to get them involved. It would seem like GVRD, which has so many people that have Vallejo experience, Vallejo schools experience, we could get on board a little bit better. But it's just an effort. Maybe we have to make the move toward the city and toward the GVRD to provide these services we're looking for.
To me, it seems like right now they're all very distinct organizations, and I do agree that they should be working together. The way I mean, a lot of cities, the city and the school district have a lot more collaboration than Vallejo does. What I have been thinking is that you could have a joint task force type meeting once a month, like the task force that they have, but have it more of a listening session where everybody who has a concern can come, and have it each month with a specific issue. For instance, truancy. That's a big issue. Now, if we were as a whole community thinking, this is the issue of the month, how are we going to deal with it? If people see students that look like they should be in school and they're not, some way that everybody is working together to make sure that kids are where they're supposed to be. Because that's how it was in my neighborhood. You could not cut school. If you did, everyone was all over you. So I think we could do that here.
Well, the school board and the city are trying to set up appointments so they can address this issue. I think that we all should put the pressure on city council to make that happen. The GVRD does a good individual program or in their own right, but we're not working together. And we should have the forums with all three sitting at the table to see how we can better collaborate and make it better for our students.
I feel the relationship between the school board and the city of Vallejo needs to be a lot larger than that. We need to be working continually with our city council, with the mayor, with the GVRD, and all entities in Vallejo, including businesses and all services that can help support our students, working together and setting a collaborative model on how we show that Vallejo is for our students' success and how to build their future for the 21st century. We first need to build the trust, though, build the trust between the community and the school district. Right now, there is not a lot of trust. So I feel that's the first thing, is building the relationships and the trust. Doing that through role models in the community for our students so they can get out there and see how our government works and be involved. If we don't have a voice of our students, what their needs are and what they want, we can't take them and share them with the other entities in Vallejo, like City Council, and try to do outreach programs to help our students. Our full-service schools have wonderful things helping our children, but we need to tap into other resources for trade schools or perhaps community colleges or further education.
Currently, the school district, GVRD, the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Sanitation Flood District, all participate on the city interagency committee. And I've been to at least one meeting where they talked about collaborating to purchase fuel from the same vendor to reduce costs from each of their end. In addition, the school district and the city council we'll eventually have a joint meeting to talk about the illegally parked ice cream trucks in front of our schools, school resource officers, and for future collaboration, what needs to happen is we need to have more joint meetings with the city council to talk about the truancy program. As my discussions with Richmond City Council member Javanko Beckles and Gail McLaughlin, they have a truancy program that works. It needs to be on the agenda for the next joint meeting with the City Council, and I'm willing to advocate for it.
I see the relationship of the school board and the city council as developing and developing more strongly. I see the city council reaching out to build our schools. And I believe the GVRD should be a part of that. We can have extension of our athletics programs, drama, music. I lived for several years in Plano, Texas for 15 years, and we worked very strongly together. We used our recreational districts, natatoriums, our skating rinks, and we for our school hockey teams, and it was all a very collaborative project, and we all worked together. So that is something that I would like to build here in Vallejo, and I think we're off to a good start.
On September 6th, the school district, the city, and GVRD held a task force meeting focused in that area, and there's also another association, the Vallejo Education Business Association, which is represented by the district, the city, businesses, and our local colleges. The focus is on developing a foundation that would make our schools as strong as they could be. One of the suggestions that I brought forth was to make sure that parents know about our TK program and preschool, and that we maybe have these on the sites where there are apartment buildings, so transportation would not be an issue. Middle school sports programs will start next month. The closure of streets for safety reasons, such as Nebraska Street at Vallejo High School.
I'll be honest, I don't know all the distinctions. We got the 3 charter schools in town right now. We've had MIT for numerous years. We've got Caliber is the one that came in. It looks like Caliber was set up really nicely. They got brand new buildings and everything. At the same time, MIT is falling into ruin. And then the Vallejo Charter School, which is a dependent or not independent, let's say, charter school. Essentially, all I can say is my belief in the ones that we have already have been legally constituted, and that there's nothing I can do about them. I'll do whatever the district should do whatever they can to support them within reason that they're supposed to do. And I would be very hesitant to approve any more charter schools in the short term until I know more about them. That's just an honest answer.
So there's direct funded charter schools and they get their money directly from the state. There's dependent charter schools and they're under the auspices of the district. They get their money for the district. And honestly, just because it's a charter school or a public school, there doesn't necessarily have to be that much difference. And my daughter went to a charter school that was dependent in Napa, the city of Napa, and the only difference there was that the teachers and the staff had more control over how the funds were spent, and they had more autonomy. In Vallejo, in addition to the charter schools that he's mentioned, we have Pathways, we have Visions in Education, we have K-12, we have Heritage, there's about 5 or 6 online charter schools. Now that's a difference, and the quality of those differs too. Pathways seems to do a pretty good job when you look at their test scores. K-12, where a lot of kids end up, doesn't. And so what I would like is to create really great public schools so people wouldn't be going to those online schools.
That's the answer. Improve our schools so that we don't have, our families don't have to go to the online schools. There shouldn't be a great deal of difference because a lot of the money comes from the same source. They think of themselves as more elite because they're smaller and they have more control. But I feel that we should work harder on our public schools so that the charter schools would not be necessary. Part of the problem in our educational system here in Vallejo is that we have this distinct difference, but it should be all the same.
For charter schools and public schools, the funding is different. And I personally have a bias since I'm a public school educator for 19 years. and knowing that when you have charter schools, the funds are distributed not the same. Our schools here in Vallejo we have economic problems for funding. If we're going to have more charter schools, that's going to take away more funding from our public schools, and I'm not for that. I'm also not for charter schools that are going to skim off the cream of the crop and take away to the charter schools, and then our public schools have more at-risk students. That's not fair to us, and also what's not fair to Vallejo is many of the charter schools, they're not here invested in Vallejo. They're not invested in our community or from our community. I want to see our community, Vallejo, and our public schools thrive with our own funding and not share that funding with corporations that are running a business for education. I do not believe in that as an educator.
We have 2 independent charter schools currently in Vallejo, MIT Academy and Caliber. They have their own board of directors, they have their own staff. Vallejo Charter School is a dependent charter where they rely on our school district employees. Before, the governing board must review their charter renewal petitions whenever they're up for renewal. We have to work currently with MIT Academy, Caliber, and Vallejo Charter. I would be concerned of new charter petitions, especially those that are founded by former Wall Street bankers. Unfortunately, there's a lot of those going on in the city of Richmond, and we must be wary of that. We have to be concerned of privatization of public education.
I don't have much to add regarding the different kinds. I think that's been pretty well covered at this point. I think one thing that we need to consider with the charter schools is what is it they're offering that we should be offering through our Vallejo public schools? Do we need to consider a magnet school? Do we need to consider schools within a school so that we are meeting the needs of all of our children within our community? The for-profit charter schools has been in the news lately, and I think that is definitely something to avoid. And we need to do everything we can to support our public schools and to offer programs so that we're meeting the individual needs of our students and we're offering a true differentiated education.
The Vallejo City Unified School District has oversight over Caliber, MIT as independent charter schools in our area. Vallejo Charter is a dependent charter. Recently, the state put out a report concerning some charter schools and a concern concerning discriminatory practices as far as enrollment. The Vallejo City Unified School District has received several students that have returned to the district recently. And we are reviewing the report where MIT was listed as one of the schools that discriminatory practices concerning enrollment became a question. So, and then I am not supportive of charter schools that are for profit. For-profit charter schools many times do not provide the quality education. We must provide, as a district, quality programs to attract students in the community.
Again, echoing what we've heard, there are the differences in the charter schools here where some are a part of the district and others are not. So some of the funds, particularly with Vallejo Charter, is split from the district total funds, and MIT isn't. I'm a parent whose child has been in 2 charter schools. My daughter has attended Vallejo Charter School, and I can say that that was not a high-functioning school at that time. This was several years ago. I don't know what they're doing now. My daughter also attended charter school in Oakland, and that was Kip Bridge, and they are extremely high-functioning, but they also have an academic schedule that is ridiculous. The kids go to school from 7:30 in the morning to 5 in the evening. So while they put out high academic numbers, the expectation of the kids is ridiculous. I think a bigger question is, how do we look at what the charter schools are doing and incorporate some of that into our system if they're functioning well, and if it's to the benefit of our children. So I think we need to look at doing some SWOT analysis, some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and seeing if it's worth adopting some of their practices or not.
I think one of the main changes I would like to see happen is to have more authority go to the actual school sites, to have management less top-down. I would like to see teachers have more autonomy over what is being taught, because the last math adoption, we looked at Common Core. We're supposed to be moving into Common Core, and the last math adoption was just books with Common Core stickers on them. Common Core needs professional development. So one of the policies I would definitely advocate for is more teacher-driven implementation of curriculum and way more professional development, a huge emphasis on professional development so that teachers are getting the support that they need.
I also feel the teachers should have more support. They should have training for these programs and the academies so that they can function better with them. And I would change the policy so that there were more aides for the teachers. And I feel that we need more nurses, we need more counselors, we need more support system throughout our schools to help our children develop better. So policy change, I would change a lot of policy in that the teachers need to have more training and more support.
So changes in policy and why. We have so many policies as it is. One of the things I would like to work on is timely holding people accountable for timeframes. At the September 7th meeting, they were talking about the grand jury report, and it was due the few days later on the 12th. I think that should have been an action item, and there should not have been a special board meeting held that Friday because things were not done in a timely manner. Since January, I've been going to the meetings. A lot of things are not timely. Setting a bond for our community, that should have started last January, not in May. So that's one thing, is implementing things a lot faster and quicker. Also, I think that our funding is so limited, we need to enhance what we have. Do professional development for our teachers and enhance the programs where we have like PBIS and other curricular things that we need to implement that us taxpayers have spent millions of dollars for curriculum and Common Core and other items. Let's just keep working and focusing what we have and tap into the community and work with those resources so that we will be strong.
Well, the first thing we need to do is amend the board bylaws to reflect the change of the meeting time, because we have a lot of working parents, change the time so that's accessible to more working parents that could attend our meetings, and also the location so that more of the public can participate at the board meetings, because it's government for the people, by the people. Second, there's been many community members that have requested things to put on the agenda, serious issues like safety, the Orson project, etc. We need to revise our board bylaws to ensure that there's proper follow-through with those requests and make sure those community members get a response from the district. And finally, we need to review what is working and not working with our anti-bullying policy and invite your input so that none of our students and our staff ever get bullied in this district, because that should not be happening.
One of the changes I would make that I would like to suggest is that we change the time of the meetings so that it can be later, so that our working parents can attend, and this will increase our transparency. School districts that I'm familiar with usually start 6, 7 p.m. That's enough time for our commuting parents to finish their jobs, get a bite to eat, and attend the meetings. I think that's just terribly, terribly important. I would also like to look at smaller class size and making that ratio of teacher to student more individualized, our students will learn better. I would also like to see us increase classified staff, including secretaries, nurses, and laborers such as welders, so that we can get things done on our campuses that need to be done. When our students need medical care, they need a nurse.
It's about the children. The most important thing and policy that we could change is that TK is not limited to students who are born from September 1st to December 31st. It should be open to as many students as possible. I visited a kindergarten class where a couple of weeks ago, students did not know how to hold a pencil. My grandson attended TK, transitional kindergarten. He came home very upset one day because they were testing, counting. He was upset because they stopped him at 200 because he wanted to count to 1,000. And his rationale, when I explained to him that every child needed the opportunity to be tested, was that, well, they're only counting to 5. But if we provided transitional kindergarten for all students.
One of the main policies I would look to modifying or changing would be the conduct of the board. I think that as board members representing our community, we have to do better. I think that there has to be greater respect of one another and the community at large. Secondly, I would like to see smaller classrooms, better teacher training with developmental opportunities. And I would also like to see that trickle down to students, where students are allowed the opportunity to become tutors and peer mentors and peer coaches and things of that nature, which could also help in learning gaps and communication gaps and bullying issues, because they become responsible for one another if we take on a different approach of allowing them to have greater responsibilities in the classrooms outside of just looking at academia.
I'd like to see policies that take action on some of the current practices. One of the things I'd like to do is to stop the micromanaging, the way that let principals do their job. If the principal doesn't do their job, they can be removed. But the idea of having supervisory personnel on site looking over the principal's shoulders, I mean, let's lay it out. What is to be done on that? I wrote a piece one time called "Why Are There Sergeants in the Army?" It explains the whole thing. You should read it. Disciplinary efforts, restorative justice, if it's working, fine. But if it isn't working for students, then the or else has to be enforced. That's another thing. And of course, we've already been through the hiring in May because we're scared. You know, we don't hire in May because we're scared. Well, that's nothing new in this district. It's been happening a long time. I'm not going to blame anybody present because we've always done it. Maybe we ought to be doing a little bit of faith-based hiring, believe in what we're going to have, and it'll work out, as opposed to being stuck at the end, not being able to hire anybody.
To all the candidates, that concludes our questions for you this evening. At this time, we would like to ask for closing statements, 1 minute each.
My name is Jeanette McCree-Godot, as you know, and I have education and background, a background in education and business and accounting. My passion is children, and I love to do anything I can do to possibly increase their knowledge, their well-being. My husband and I have accomplished a lot in Vallejo in terms of the community and children and after-school programs and career days, and doing all that we possibly can to bring a brighter life to the children of Vallejo. I would like to continue doing that, and I would be pleased to have your vote.
Again, I'm John Fox, and I've served, as I've told you, for 19 years as a teacher, and I want to be that advocate as a teacher for here in Vallejo for our teachers, our students, our parents, and our community. I want to also take my board experience, knowledgeable on that, and take that into the school board and go in running with both my experiences, because my knowledge would take me there because I have the experience. I also want to build so much on the relationships here and just build trust and further our beautiful town of Vallejo. We have such a gold mine here in Vallejo, and we need to make it a destination place for so many people that are coming that can't afford the rest of the Bay Area. Have our students be centered and have advocates, have programs to keep them safe, and to have advocates in the community to role model and to support our students through businesses and through funding, through bonds and grants. The more funding we can get, the better educational experiences for our students. I also like to see trade schools come back and help our students get skills to go to college.
As your school board member, I'll continue to hold regular office hours and visit school sites, announced and unannounced, to understand your needs. I'll continue to tackle the problems that motivate me to continue. School safety, academic achievement, and retaining staff and teachers. We need to advocate for school resource officers to build better student relations. We need to advocate for better incentives to retain our teachers and staff. We need to tackle the achievement gap and academic performance by implementing best research practices from other districts nationwide, as well as implementing trades in our school sites. I'm working to advocate to create change. I will not stop until our students are safe, our staff are well supported, and our students are well educated. I look forward to working with each and every one of you.
I am an advocate for students and for staff. I'm an advocate for parents. My son's grown up, but I had the honor of being his teacher for a while. I am involved in the community. As I said, I'm on a couple of appointed positions. I'm also on the Friends of Loma Vista Farm Board, and that's another educational organization where we work with kids on on farm ecology and that kind of thing.
My priorities as a governing board member are about the children. I would work on internal and external relationships, student achievement, financial strength and stability, school safety, parent involvement, hiring and retaining qualified employees, supporting all employees, and expanding strong college, community, business, and trade partnerships. Those are my priorities as a governing board member. And I will continue to have my office hours 24/7, 365 days out of the year. I will continue to be on all the campuses. I will continue to work with students. I will continue to make sure that there is equitable treatment of all students and staff. It is very important to me that, yes, we have another school resource officer, but it has to be the right school resource officer because they will have a gun on our campus. Thank you.
I've struggled with this district. Having a child in the district who I pulled out for almost 4 years because it was underperforming and I've since put back, I understand a lot of the concerns that the community has with the way that our district is performing. I am ready to work to make sure that our district, our kids get what they deserve. My background is I have a bachelor's degree in organizational behavior and leadership from University of San Francisco. I have a master's degree in human resource management from Golden Gate University. I understand how to work with people. I understand how to build relationships. I understand how to minimize communication gaps, and that's what we need. We need to be able to work together collaboratively, rebuild the community, restructure some of these relationships so that we can work together functionally. Thank you.
I say things as I see them, and I cut to the chase. That's what I'm known for in the groups I'm with. What I can bring to the board, a knowledge of WASC. I watched last night. People are kind of playing at WASC. They don't fully understand it. They need to get trained. They need to go to the training, go on WASC trips. We need to hire the best people, not the connected people, the best people for top positions in the district. And we need to hire teachers first. We have academies. All of them have an administrator. A lot of them don't have a lead teacher very long. People leave our lead teacher for academies to go work in the county, for crying out loud. So the gist of it is we could live without an academy administrator. We can not live without academy leads if we're going to be doing these academies right. So We should be hiring teachers first, so it should be no shortage of teachers. We can live without an administrator for a few weeks.
What I would hope to be able to do on the board is to ensure that the district is doing what it says it's doing. The policies we have are actually pretty good, but we need to implement the policies we have. We have restorative justice. Everyone needs to be trained. PBIS, everybody needs to be trained. We can't really do that if we don't have staff at the beginning of the year. So as Mr. Lawson was saying, we have to prioritize staffing. But there has to be some urgency about what's going on. I get calls every August from school districts where they're missing a math teacher and they put out an APB trying to find anybody that will come to their school district. And that never happens to me in Vallejo, even though when I apply, they want to hire me. But that needs to happen. We have to be totally and completely upset whenever any classroom does not have a teacher. We just have to take these things seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our candidates forum for Vallejo School Board. We'd like to thank the Community Democratic Club for presenting this forum, and especially to the Filipino American Cultural Center for making this venue available to us for this event. And also thanking each of the candidates for giving us some of their time this evening. We do appreciate your presence this evening.